गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुसाक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्य कृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः नमामि गौडपादं च शङ्करं श्रीसुरेश्वरं स्वामिनं सच्चिदानन्दमिन्द्रं तं ज्ञानरूपिणे। ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಮ ರಿಗಾರ್ಡಿಂಗ್ ದ ಶಂಭು ಕವದ just one or two postscript, one or two points, not more. We don't have a single book. Hindu Shastras are many. So, one book should not be interpreted in the light of that book alone. Because for us, one book is not pramanam. And that too, the revelation of God comes in different ways. Veda is directly revealed. Sometimes they are revealed through the heart of the rishis. Like Mahabharata, though it is called Paurusheya, it also is a pramana because it comes from Veda Vyasa. It comes from Bhagavad Gita, comes from Sri Krishna. Gita Sugita Kartavya Kimanyaihi Shastra Vistarai Padmanabha Mukhat Nisruta. Sakshat, it has emanated from the mouth of directly God Sri Krishna himself. Therefore, it is also equal to Veda. Therefore, Smriti Puranas are also equal to Veda. Therefore, if a situation is said in one grantha, that has to be understood in the light of other texts also. Here I have a Shanti Parva. In Mahabharata there is a shloka, Adrishyanta Arya Varneshu Shudraschapi Tapodhanah. See, Arya Varneshu, he is considering Shudra also among the Aryas only. Because Arya is not a race which Max Muller created and Indologists have propagated, India has swallowed. Okay, Max Muller started, Indologists propagated, Indians have swallowed and applied, and we started dividing and hating and killing ourselves based upon such a false theory against our tradition, against our books. When I say this thing, oh, these are all politics. How a wrong idea is responsible to create hatred, divide people and kill us. We kill with our own hands, we kill our own people. And then it is not simple killing. It is not simply losing life. It is creating a permanent hatred. So that is a cause of downfall of dharma. Now people thereafter cannot live peacefully, cannot discuss openly things. Because anything you say, you keep on judging from the side. Oh, you are talking against Shudra. Oh, you are demeaning Shudra. See, you can't talk anything freely. Because anything you interpret, you are afraid of their negative interpretation. And their negative interpretation is taken as a standard. You are not supposed to question. Now, this is totally division and hatred. That's all. This is division and hatred. So, we have to see in the Abrahamic religions, there are two teachings. One is what is stated there. Another is how to divide and destroy others. That is a bigger teaching. That is a bigger Bible and bigger Quran. How they are supposed to destroy other societies, what policies they are supposed to follow, both intellectual, physical, social, everything, in different ways. And these strategies Hindus are not aware. And also our own Shastras. Okay, so Adrishyanta Arya Varneshu. Arya Varna, when he says, all four Varnas are Arya. Now you see, whenever we Hindus read our Shastras, we have to, not only Shastras, when we refer to ourselves, all the four Varnas are Arya. So, Arya is a basically cultured person, mature person. Ravana, now I tell just a small point. People say South Indians are Dravida and North Indians are Arya. This has not gone away. Even now the schools and colleges and TVs and histories and talks, everywhere it is prevalent. Everywhere it is prevalent. They say Dravida means, they mean something, they are different. That's all they mean. They are different. The South Indians are different and they are different. And they try to create that Ravana is a Dravida, not an Arya. Ravana was abusing his brother Vibhishana. Anarya you are. You are leaving me and supporting Rama. You are supporting Rama. They told that Rama is an Arya, has invaded on Sri Lanka. Invaded on Sri Lanka. They wanted to present Rama was an Aryan, invaded on South India. But you know what Ravana says? Vibhishana, you are an Arya for supporting Rama. Now you understand the meaning? How the words have been distorted. He says, you are Anarya for supporting Rama and not supporting my wicked action, adharmic action of kidnapping and bringing Sita. So it is just ridiculous. Okay. Then even Shudras are told as Anaryas. Where is that? Arya is a cultured man. Therefore here you see, Adrishyantarya Varneshu Shudrasyati Hapodana. Among the Arya Varnas, Shudras are also found to be tapasvin, tapodhanaha, not simply superficial. Highly tapasvis we find great tapasvis among the Shudra castes who are Aryans. See the simple translation of the statement. Therefore, our Shastras have to be understood with a mutual connection. Because each Shastra is an explanation of other Shastras. Mahabharata, Ramayana, Puranas, Veda, Vedanga, Smriti, all they are mutual commentaries. Vedopa Brahmanarthaya. And then Valmiki clearly stated in the beginning, he wrote Ramayana only to Vedasya Upabrahmana. Upabrahmana means as a commentary on Veda, as an expanded meaning of Veda. He is explaining the Veda in detail, the Vedic meaning, Vedic message, Vedic vision. He is explaining the Vedic vision of Dharma, the values and the goal of life. Purushartha is Dharma Purushartha. Sakama Dharma, Nishkama Dharma. But Dharma. See, either it could be Sakama Dharma or Nishkama Dharma. Some places Sakama Dharma, some places Nishkama Dharma. But Dharma is the main Purushartha. Karma Yoga Upasana. That is, you reach Brahmaloka and there you will get is a Kramamukti at least. If you don't, where you don't find directly Vedantic teaching, you find at least Kramamukti. Brahmaloka Prapti and there you will get Jnanam. Kramamukti at least you find. Because in Vedanta there are two ways for moksha. One is a Kramamukti, another is directly here itself discovering Atma Swarupam and getting Jnanam. Or you go to Brahmaloka and there you get Jnanam. Either way. That means you do Vichara and understand that mind is Mithya and the whole world is Mithya, therefore not different from Brahman. Second point is, you purify your mind, expand your mind, develop the mind into a Brahmadeva stage. Brahmadeva means Brahmaloka. You purify with mind as great, as much as it is fit to go to Brahmaloka or Vaikuntha. There at the end of Brahmaloka, you are likely to get Jnana. So this is also another path. Kramamukti is also a path. So those who are not fit for Vedanta Jnana. Now I am talking to Advaitin. Because most of you claim that you are Advaitin. Okay. Those who are not capable of directly doing Vichara, at least let them do good Ahangraha Upasana, Nishkama Upasana, Vishwarupa Upasana. That means you will be getting Vaishwanara. Once you get Vaishwanara, if you cannot give up Jagrat waking state and stand as Prajna Turiya, at least that Vaishwanara you reach there and you go to Brahmaloka, there you will understand that you are Brahman. At least going to Vaishwanara is common, whether you trial Krama Mukti or direct Mukti. In either case, reaching Vaishwanara is common to both. Vedantins means Jnana. Jnana yogis take Vaishwanara in a more Jnana sense. They will take in a Upasana sense. So that once they attain Vaishwanara, they will go to Brahmalok. So those who cannot do Vichara, don't be disappointed, stubbornly, we will listen to only Vedanta, we will not do any sadhana. See, these are all stubborn fellows, self-destructive fellows. Those who cannot do Vichara, let them do Upasana. Because Upasana, purity gives you, at least on the sadhana will give you certain purity of mind, certain joy of mind. Because human nature is different. Every Upadhi is not same. Some people go directly to Vedanta. It is something like some people go directly to Delhi, some people don't go, some people will be watching many cities on the way. They will visit many cities on the way, spend time, and after 1 month or 2 months they reach Delhi. Some people I am not interested in others and directly go to Delhi and see. So people are of different nature. Those who want to go to Himalayas or want to see Badri Kedar, not directly but go through many other places and reach ultimate. They also want to go to Himalayas. They also want to see Badrinath, but not directly. They want to see many other things on the way and go reach. Similarly, some people want to directly moksha. Some people have other interests also, social interest. They want to have some culture, Indian culture, Hindu culture, some scholarship, some tapas, some upasana. Let them do, and later they will come to Vedanta. There is one person in Hyderabad. He was with us. He has a yogic mind. He loves a lot of yogic powers. Lot of yogic sadhana, yogic powers. Wherever there is some kind of a yogi having little power, he would go and visit them, spend some time, learn something from. He learnt some of the powers, many yogic techniques, meditations, all these are prevalent. What you call them? These Reiki, pranic healing, all these things he knows them much more thoroughly. And at the same time Vedantin. He loves Vedanta. He is not a anti-Vedantin. Most of the yogis and all people are anti-Vedantin. But he is essentially Vedanta. But he loves these things also. Now what should you do? And then ultimately he found a yogi. He goes around Hyderabad, outside Hyderabad, in the outskirts of all towns and villages and forest, everywhere he searched. He found out one yogi who knows great power, even Parakaya Pravesha he could do. He found it. And when he met him, he also understood, oh, he has got a yogic mind, this person. He told, yes, he is a very 90 years old man, that yogi. I have been looking for a right disciple so that I can give my sadhana and my teaching and everything. I will help him to practice and give this siddhi and go away. He found, Abba, I got a very great yogi, and he felt very lucky and happy. He went to his guru, the same guru from whom I was studying, Vedantic guru. That Vedantic guru told, no, all these siddhis are bogus, don't do that, only Vedanta. He felt disappointed. Ultimately, okay, since my guru warned me, okay, let me wait. Then by the time that person, the yogi passed away. Even now he is wandering around for yogic power. See, he is not a person who uses yogic power. He doesn't even reveal that he doesn't even reveal to others that he has the powers. He wants to be known as a Vedantin. He is not interested. He will use it only for good people, dharmic people. When people are suffering, there alone he will use. He won't use it just like that for anybody, Lokik, worldly people. So he is such a person who is not going to abuse the powers, yogic powers. And he has got a mindset which wants to learn. By discouraging it, he will be neither expert in Vedanta, neither he got Vedantic knowledge, nor he could get the yogic powers. He is hanging in between. See, these Vedantin fellows, these Vedantin means I am talking everybody. Vedantins, by overemphasizing Jnanam, If you have got such a Vedantic mind, do only vichara, nothing else. You can do it. But why do you want to impose on others that everybody do directly Vedanta Jnanam, only Jnana Yoga? Not Kramamukti, not Upasana. If somebody tries it, condemn him. Among the Smartas, among the Vedantins, we have condemned so much this Upasana that ultimately only Jnanam. But many people are not fit for Jnanam. Even among the sannyasis, people are not fit for Jnanam. Let them do Upasana. They will go to Brahmaloka and then attain Jnanam. See, this is one-sided imposition is creating a problem. Shall I tell you, because of this reason alone, Ramanuja Madhva, with that Upasana Vaikuntha Prapti, has developed, because among the Advaitins in those days, after Shankara's period, people were talking of only Jnanam, and Kramamukti was ignored totally. In the traditional books, you don't find Kramamukti. There is no teaching, there is no tradition, there are no people. I think much later, Bhaskara Raya came. Then the Lalita Puja, Sri Vidya Puja started, then it is developed now. Now in a way it is good that in Lalita Puja there are two. It is in Kramamukti, Upasana and also Jnana. It can be used for both. Now many people who are interested in Upasana are doing it. It can be done with Rama, Krishna, Shiva, everywhere you can do. Those who are not, those who do not have such a mind for direct vichara, they can do that also. So similarly, people have different minds. They have got Vedanta and also certain other secondary interests. They are not. There are some people who are not primarily interested in worldly things, but it is a secondary interest, side interest. See, most of the people are not purely Vedantin. You have got certain hobbies, certain other interests also. Some people take interest in health, some people take interest in politics, some people take interest in something science, some psychology, something else also. Though they are Vedantins, but they have certain other interests also. Some Sahitya. See, some people take interest in Sahitya, some people take interest in Jyotisha. Vedantin at the same time Jyotisha. Some people, some psychology, some Sahitya. So these are, we find them naturally. Therefore, you allow the people to follow the different ways. That's why we find all these different sadhanas. That's why we have many shastras, many upasanas, and many paddhatis. Therefore, you allow the people to follow different ways. They come back. Because they exhaust their mind. Aupadika, they will learn many things, and again. Some people come roundabout way. Some people want to go straight way. Two types of people. Allow accordingly. But ultimately, they should become mature people, learn deeper and go deeper. That is the basic idea. Okay. Therefore, what I wanted to say is, we have no one book. All our books put together. Mahabharata, Ramayana, Bhagavata, all books put together. We have to interpret one book with the help of other books. So here Mahabharata says, now our people, Western people, they have got only one book. And there also they say, which has come before, which has come later. They have got a historical mind. Their Western research, Indologist research is only two methods. One is a philology, another is history. History, they say, whether Ramayana first or Mahabharata first. They say Ramayana came later, Mahabharata came first. Therefore, they will only take one book and reject all other books. They interpret that way, and we keep on listening. Oh, Westerners, Europeans, how much they have done research on our books. Let us read them. They have studied lot of research. Indians have got a great respect for Western Indologists. Our people think that they have done so much of research. 90% of it is trash. Not only trash, it is a highly poison. Okay, because most of them is poison, and some of them is some kind of a reference books like dictionaries, etc. They are useful. They are useful, but don't go by their vision and aim and then interpretations. Don't go by that. Some references, quotations, etc. useful. They will give you. They will put alphabetical order. How many times word Vasudeva is used in Mahabharata? They do research. 30 times, 755 times Vasudeva is used. 20 times Arjuna is used. 40 times so I am just imagining. These are all false numbers. It is not there. I am just giving some example. So this time, what do you get? How many times the name is used? They want to say who is great. 200 times Arjuna is used. And then 190 times Bhima. Therefore Arjuna is great. Is this the way to decide who is great, who is small? Because this is the kind of the research there. This is all, what you say, child's play. Let them do. These are all meaningless things. But don't get carried away by this thing. See the value behind. See the dharma behind. See the vision of dharma and life and parama purushartha. Purushartha. For us, purushartha, sadhana, life, this is the depth for us. So look at from this way. Therefore, if one shastra says, because, now you know what they say? If Valmiki said that, Mahabharata, see there tapassu Shudra could not do. Here he told Shudras are tapasvis, Mahabharata said. Now you know, say, they divide. Put Valmiki against Vyasa. Vyasa accepted. Valmiki did not accept. Therefore Valmiki is against Vyasa. Now, these are the terrible fellows. You think that they are great people? You take their name, you have to do prayaschitta. So vulgar fellows they are. They put Valmiki against Vyasa. Then Vyasa against Yajnavalkya. Yajnavalkya against somebody. They have nothing else to do. This is the only job they can do because they are born for that. They are born to divide people, create hatred and destroy. Isn't it? They are Yamabhatas. Yamabhatana Amshavatara. Pura Kaladalli, there used to be Devata Amsha Avatara. Nowadays also we find Devata Amshas. They are all Yamabhatas Avatara. They only create problems to others. Neither they can be peaceful nor they allow others to be peaceful. Not that they made Europe as a peaceful life. Europe also they destroyed. India also they want to destroy. Therefore, they are just to want to destroy because their mindset itself is a negative mindset. Is a very negative mind. Because a person asanne vasabhavate asad brahmeti vedach, a person who lost the Purushartha vision, the vision of Purushartha, naturally he himself is lost, he will also spoil others. We are not telling that they alone are wicked people. Once they lost the vision of Purushartha, they are becoming enemies to themselves. They also don't know what they want. Because the basic Purushartha is lost. The very idea of Purushartha is lost. Therefore they talk like that. Okay, second thing is, okay, this point I wanted to say, don't go by the one book, see all our books together. When one book explains one aspect, another book explains another aspect, another situation. So take the collective meaning of all our Shastras. Then you will get a clear picture, true picture. We have got a broad picture, more positive picture, multifaceted. Our Shastra, our Dharma is multifaceted. There are many rishis and many books. They all talk from different angles, different standpoints, different levels. We take a combined meaning of all our Shastras. Samanvaya, that's why we believe in Samanvaya. Why do we need Samanvaya? Harmony of all the Shastras. Because we can't ignore one Rishi and then, like Arya Samaj is there, we accept these books and reject other books. We don't reject any book. We try to do Samanvaya. We don't reject any Rishi. Because Rishis are Rishis. They start dividing one Rishi important, other books, they destroy the books. They undermine Rishis. They insult other prophets and keep only one prophet. And they keep on creating quarrel between the prophets. One prophet is exclusive against another. Our Rishis are not, Valmiki is not against Vyasa, Vyasa is not against Manu, Manu is not against Yajnavalkya. Nor none of these people are against Shankara. We do Samanvaya of all these people. There are unfortunately later days they have picked up. I think this is a Kali Yuga Dharma has entered. They start hating our own Rishis, our own Gurus. This is a very unfortunate. I think this is mostly due to influence of those European thinking alone. You start hating our own traditional Gurus. And create a new Sampradaya and create a very narrow-minded thinking. But we never did like that. You see the Puranas, they all accepted all Puranas. Different Sampradayas, different Siddhantas, different levels. Okay. Because Adhikaris are different. For Adhikaris for those respective Adhikaris, respective sadhana. Some people want to go to Vaikuntha, some people want to go to directly Jnanam, some people want something else. Okay, find out. But all of them exist in our tradition. But taking one, hating the other, this is meaningless. Okay, now second point. So, see, for this mistake, now they say, they divide the society also. They say Shudra is one group. They were all against Shudra for no reason. They say Shudra is one group, all three Varnas are Aryans. Three Varnas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas are Aryans, they have invaded from outside. This is what their explanation. So the native people are Shudras. Our native people, they call him Adivasi, Adi Dravida, Adivasi, Adi Karnataka. All these are pervert names, and even we start using it. Adi Dravida. In Tamil Nadu, they call them Adi Dravida. In Andhra, they call them Adi Andhra. In Karnataka, they call them Adi Karnataka. And in North India, they call them Adivasi. Means they are all original natives of India. That means we are the invaders. Where is the proof? You don't require proof. We want to hate you and we create proof. That is the proof. Our hatred is the only proof. See. And you think it is a small thing? It is destroying all our Shastras. You have to wake up. You have to learn. If you want to show your fanaticism, show. Even fanaticism has got some Sattvika fanaticism. Show somewhere. Where there is a good point, there they show. Okay. Stick to good points. Where there is a openness, where there is a real maturity, real understanding, there you stick to them. False values, false ideas, we are unconsciously propagating it. We also keep on repeating these words. Don't use these words ever. Adi Karnataka, all these are nonsense. Because of this alone, recently in Gujarat, Palghar, the two sadhus were killed for what? Only for this. I listened to that. I listened to that directly live. The person who is the head of that, who belongs to the group of people who lynched them. I listened to that in Facebook. His open interview with him in online audio. He discusses openly. He says, these Brahmanas are invaders. They have come from outside. Therefore we have done it. He says openly. He is a district head. Yes, killing was not good. Of course, they need to be punished. But they are invaded. They are invaders. We are the originals. We are the natives of India. They have invaded. They have invaded. They took away all our property. See, he admits that lynching was not good. But they are invaders. What is this? It is, in fact, that is the reason they are lynching. That is the reason they are lynching it. Now we people are sleeping. And if I say that, oh, Swamiji is talking politics. Oh, what should we say? Allah Brahma. Lynching is also Brahma in the hell. You should keep quiet. Therefore, here our Shastras, our outlook of Dharma is distorted. Dharma is important. Caste is meant for Dharma. They say caste is a social hatred, a division based upon hatred. See, their interpretation is caste is a division based upon hatred due to invasion. Wherever there is division, wherever there is a what you call different groups of people, Europeans have got only one explanation. One people have come from outside, one people have come from outside. So therefore they are invaders, therefore division. If I have got a hands and legs differently, you see, I have got 2 hands, 2 legs. You say, one hand is an invader, one hand is yours. Okay, this right leg is yours and left hand is an invader. Otherwise, you should have all hands and legs and one like an egg. You should have been born like an egg, without hands and legs. You have got different hands and different legs because one hand is an invader, another hand is your original hand. Okay, this is the interpretation of Europeans and you want to give importance to them. Our divisions, our within, Varna divisions are not due to invasion, not due to hatred. It is simply due to karma, dharma values. Simply due to karma, dharma, duty, kartavya. These are you see them in all our Shastras. All our hundreds and hundreds of 80, why 18, 40, 50 Puranas, 30, 40, see around 40, 50, 60, even 70 Smritis are there, Puranas are there, other books are there, 4 Vedas, Vedangas, all they say the inner divisions within our society are due to karma, dharma, kartavya, drishti bheda, that's all. We never talk of due to invasion, these divisions have taken place. European interpretation is, wherever you find the two people, this fellow is invaded. They are invaders, come from outside. These are the natives. Native invaders, this has become a Veda Vakya, Mahavakya for Europeans. And they have implanted it in our Indian society. We also start studying in our schools and college books. We repeat them. Invaders, invader. Natives, invader. What is this all nonsense? Therefore, Shambhuka's punishment to Shambhuka was due to dharma. It is simple karma, it is a different reason. Okay. The same mistake if anybody commits, punishment is same. Even Trishanku was a Surya Vamsha, Ramachandra's Vamsha. Trishanku was a king of Ikshvaku Vamsha. Even he was denied, he was cursed. He also wanted to go to heaven with a Sasharira. With this physical human body, he wanted to go to heaven. He went to, the same Ramayana discusses Balakanda. He went to Vasishtha Rishi and he asked them, I want to go to heaven. How? I want to go to heaven with this physical body. Vasishtha laughed and told, it's not possible. It's not possible to go. It is not possible. He again pressurized. Vasishtha told, I told you it is not possible because that requires an extraordinary punya. You are a Kshatriya. You are a Vaivaswata Manu Vamsha, Ikshvaku Vamsha. Such a great man. Ikshvaku Vamsha. Even then you do not have that. Everybody can't go. There are very few people with an extraordinary tapobala can go. Everybody can't go. Therefore, don't try for it and don't expect it. It won't happen. He left Vasishtha. He went to his Vasishtha's sons, Shakti and others, 100 sons Vasishtha had. Again they went to and asked their sons. Their sons told, what is this? You being a king, Kshatriya Vamsha, Ikshvaku Vamsha, this misbehavior? When my Guru refused it, you think we will do against our Guru? Against our father? See, you go to the elder Guru, and when Guru refuses, come to your disciple, and then again he wants to do against Guru. Then you know what they told him? This is a misbehavior. When Vasishtha Guru himself told it is not possible, you are again doing it, therefore they cursed him. So even Trishanku was also denied going to heaven with a physical body. Therefore, wherever there is a violation of dharma, punishment is done. So look at it this way. Okay? These things go on. If you have got more doubts, we can tell you. But they don't look at it this way. This is the biggest mistake, and it is inhuman division. Even now they are dividing Europe, they are dividing the country, and they say unity, unity. They are the people, they talk of lot of unity. They are the people, they talk lot of unity, and they are the people, they create lot of division. In India, there were divisions. See, these divisions within the society is not new. Not new. It has been there, but we always lived in harmony. We always lived in harmony with a different division. Various sampradayas, various acharas, various varnas, various groups. Still we lived peacefully by mutual helping, by mutual cooperation. But it is they started creating non-existing divisions. And the existing divisions they interpreted as the hatred. Hatred is the only reason. There cannot be any other reason for division. Division is division only due to hatred, only due to invasion. And this Siddhanta, unless we dismiss it, no humanity, not only India, even all over the world, no country, no society can be peaceful, no society can live in harmony and cooperation. This very divisive mind is an asura mind, whoever he is. It is an asura mind you give up. Okay, coming to the Sita's repudiation, we call them. Repudiation, rejection of Sita. Sending away to forest will come in Uttarakanda. But here, we know that event. Rama won. Ravana was killed. Rama won. Then they celebrate that success of it. As soon as Ravana falls, Ravana's wives hundreds of people come and lament there. All that is over, then Rama orders, you see, sunset is rising. Sun is going to set now. How long? You can't do that much. Therefore, you take away this woman, and then they do perform the Shraddhadi karmas to Ravana. All that is over. Then later, Sita was asked to come. Sita comes. As soon as Sita comes, Rama becomes so immensely happy. Rama becomes so happy, and he declares that, you see, Sita, we have won it. Nirjita bhadre shatrum jitvaranajire paurushad yadanushteyam mayaitadupapaditam. First 6 shlokas. Vibhishanasya, no, 9 shlokas. First 9 shlokas, Rama gives a positive news. Sita, we won it. I am so happy that you came back. We are lucky that we killed Ravana, who is an enemy, who has created so much of problems to us. We won. So you are become free, and I am also happy. Sita, having heard the good news that Sita came back to Rama, and he says, because of our, immediately when he says that we are happy that we came back again, we met together, so that we could meet, otherwise we got separated, now we met. For that, the major help was 3 people. Hanuman was the first. The thanks to Hanuman. Thanks means they don't use the word thanks, but acknowledge their help. See, acknowledging this thank word is different, but acknowledging the help of Hanuman, Sugriva and Vibhishana. That's all. Then, having heard this, Ityevam vadata shrutva Sita Ramasya tadvachaha mrugi vatpullanayana babhuva shruparipluta. With Ananda Paravasha, Sita becomes so Ananda Paravasha. She sheds the tears of Ananda. Abba, Rama is happy, Sita is happy. See the meeting of them. Mrugiva Utpullanayana. Like a deer, Utpullanayana. Her eyes become full of joy. Sita sheds the tears of joy, Ananda, that she came to Rama. She met, and Rama is happy, Sita is happy. This was a great occasion, Ananda occasion. Thereafter, the rejection of Sita starts. Some people say, oh, how could it be so cruel? How could Rama be so cruel? Therefore, what they say, this is a prakshupta. By prakshupta, you mean interpolation. Interpolation means it was not originally written by Valmiki. It was not a real event that happened in the life of Ramachandra. It was not a real event, nor Valmiki recorded it. Somebody later, much later, non-Valmiki, somebody later interpolated, means somebody has pushed it inside the Ramayana. Therefore, from here, this is a 115, chapter 115 in Yuddhakanda. I am reading. So he says directly 16, 17 and even 18. These 3 chapters about Sita, repudiation, Devatas coming and all that are prakshipta. We directly jump to the area where Vibhishana requests him, please stay here. See, Devatas come, Rishis come, Dasharatha comes. Dasharatha also consoles Sita and talks to everybody. Then all this is over. They say all this is prakshipta. Directly when Vibhishana requests him, stay in my kingdom for a few days. Ramachandra says, no, I can't stay. Now I have to, as soon as I may complete my 14 years period, my life of forest, my exile of 14 years, as soon as I complete, on the last day, the next day of my completion of 14 years, I must be in Ayodhya because I have given word to Bharata. Otherwise, Bharata will do something very dangerous thing, something unacceptable. He will commit suicide. Because he already took the words from me, I also gave. Therefore, please don't pressurize me. Now I am within the 14 period alone, so few more days are left out. So on the last day I should reach there. So therefore, within this says, so I can't come inside the kingdom. And also, see, here is a Rama's beautiful expression. See how to refuse. Without hurting Vibhishana, how to refuse. He says, even by your simple oral invitation alone, I take it as a honored, as if I have entered your kingdom, I received all your hospitality, your honor and everything. You feel that, Vibhishana, I have received all your, I am as happy as I have received your hospitality, respect, gift and everything. Therefore, don't worry. I am really blessed and happy, as good as received all your hospitality, all your respect. So this shows how he carefully consideration, even in refusing how he talks. Okay. So that is a directly topic. In which chapter is it? Shall I tell you? I mean 121. 115 to 121 jump. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. In between these 5 chapters, alone people have a problem. Now, we don't know. Now, what is my opinion? I don't know whether it is Prakshipta or not. I have no way of deciding. But one thing I can say, it might be Prakshipta or it may not be, might not have been. We don't know. Assuming that if it is Prakshipta, doesn't matter. You see, our tradition says, even if they are Prakshipta, we try to understand the person who has interpolated. He is also a good scholar. He has studied Ramayana. A person who has interpolated this portion, even assuming, I don't know, I think it is, I may feel it is a original also, it might not be a Prakshipta. Supposing Prakshipta, I am just assuming, don't take it for granted that I am in favor of interpolation. Either way, I am assuming it at all. So the people, even if you assume that some shlokas were written by others, some events were added by others, even those people are Rama Bhaktas, they are not enemies of Rama. One thing you have to note it, okay? This is one important, that they are also Rama Bhaktas, okay? I think I have to note down this point. They were also Rama Bhakta. They have studied Ramayana number of times. They have studied Ramayana number of times and taught to people. Not only taught, they reveled, they enjoyed Rama's great character. They enjoyed Rama's character with all bhakti and dharma. They are dharmikas. They are not like European interpolation, anti-Rama, anti-dharmikas. They are not Nastikas. They have interpolated these events in Rama's life. Okay? Not Nastikas. They are dharmikas. I don't know. Should I go into these technical details? First thing is, if he were interpolated, whoever wrote it, he is as Bhakta of Rama and Sita as Valmiki was. In their heart, they were similar to Valmiki in their bhakti. And they have studied the entire Valmiki Ramayana number of times. They did Manana, they did Parayana, they also explained it to others. Because you can see them. Then they were Dharmika, as Valmiki told, it is a Vedopa Brahmana Arthaya. It is to explain the Vedic meaning. I am writing this Ramayana. There are many purposes when Valmiki says to explain the Vedic meaning and also present Sita's great character. Sitayah Charitam Mahat. Have you ever heard? In the beginning of Balakanda, Paulascha Vadayityeva. First he says Ramayanam, its name is Rama going to forest. Rama going to forest means Rama's obedience of his father. That is important feature. This Ramayana, Valmiki called by various names. One name is Rama's great character. Important thing is he sacrificed everything. To obey father's words, he went away to forest and sacrificed. Second thing is he killed Ravana. That is his parakrama. Third thing is Sitayas Charitam Mahat. Great character of Sita. And fourth is to present Sita's character to the world. This point you will understand later. to present Sita's character to the world, Valmiki tried. Valmiki wrote Ramayana. The public's misunderstanding about Sita he wanted to clear. He wanted to clear the misunderstanding of Sita, because there should be somebody to come and tell. Anyway, this you will understand, I'll tell later. So, even if it were Prakshipta, they had some idea, because when a new situation arises, a complex situation, a dharma sankata, an emergency, a problematic situation, a critical situation in life requires a critical response, very unusual response, because a situation has arisen in life, unusual situation, you require an unusual response. Did ever anybody think that Rama would be asked to go away to forest? That, see, Dasharatha is caught. He gave the boon to Kaikeyi before, and now Kaikeyi is asking at this time. He thought that she would ask for something else, and he didn't expect that she would ask Rama to be sent away. And Dasharatha was caught in such a situation, he doesn't know what to do. Against his wish, Sita Rama has to go away. And it pleases nobody. Whole Ayodhya is unhappy. But that was the situation. Did anybody expect that it would happen? Just as Dasharatha was in the situation, Rama also came into a similar situation. Here, Rama also came into similar situation with reference to Sita. So when there is a critical situation, a difficult situation, you require an unusual response. Okay. This is what is dharma. See, we people means modern people, they think of only physical artha kama purushartha. They are married, they should live together, that's all. Let society should not interfere. They see modern people, this point I have to interpret. Our people took the marriage and family life and etc. for sake of dharma. Nowadays we say all society, all constitution, all law is only for the couple to live together and enjoy worldly life, that's all. Worldly life, worldly pleasures and worldly make money and then live together. Yeah, all goal is only worldly pleasures. There is no higher goal, there is no sacrifice, there is no national goal, protection of the society, protection of dharma, sacrifice, all these are secondary goals. Because this is a European culture we got. And because of that, we also think that that alone is a goal of life. Because of this standard, Ramayana looks all wrong for us, for our modern youngsters. But they took totally the marriage and the family life and children, all that was meant for dharma. Therefore, why Dasharatha has been so cruel? Why should he send his son? People say the Ramas was foolishness and Dasharatha was also selfish and Kaikeyi was selfish. So people say they didn't understand. See, they don't see any beauty, any great dharma in it. Because why should we just go for like that? You can live here, what is that? See, they think all these values have no meaning at all. So the dharma and the values are important because Purushartha is a higher. The purpose of human life is something higher. Not simple physical pleasure and money and status. Something deeper dharma is there. Upasana, Karma Yoga, Ishvara Upasana, that is important. Therefore, they have taken this as an important. Now, at this time, Rama says something that I have won. Now I leave you. Second time, Rama, earlier he had a different view. Rama didn't have a pre-planned rejection of Sita. When Sita came, he has been happy and enjoyed and everything. Oh, he felt immensely happy. He shared the joy with Sita. Sita also became overwhelmed with joy that again she came to see him. Now that moment Rama is reminded of one thing. Suddenly one idea occurred to Rama. What is that? Janavada bhayat rajnyo babhova hridayam vidha. Hridaya priyam. In front of Sita, who is dearest to Rama, in front of, after seeing the Sita, he also became happy. Then suddenly a thought came. We are happy. We are living together. But what do the people, society think of us? Should we care for that? Should we keep that in mind or not? Then he says, Janavada bhayat rajnyo I think if you watch Valmiki himself gives a reply to all these things. This you keep this in mind. Janavada bhayat rajnyo babhova hrudayam dvida. His mind became in two. Now I have accepted, then what might the people think is disturbed. Dvida means mind is disturbed. Disturbed of what? He didn't say that Rama got a doubt. Some people try to explain that Rama got a doubt on Sita. Clearly he says, Rama didn't have a doubt. In fact, Rama felt very happy that I got back my Sita after defeating Ravana, and then he felt very immensely happy. Now he says, he's only thinking about what does the society think. Janavada bhayat rajnyo. Because of the people's thought, now what should I do? Should I directly accept? Or should I do something to remove the doubt of the people? We have to do something so that the people also will accept. Therefore, he told that no, I can't accept you. Now he changed the mind. He says, okay, I defeated Ravana, I waged the war, I built the bridge over the sea. Rama Setu he built. Not Adam's Setu. Adam didn't exist. Rama builds it, Adam appropriates it. Okay. This is what the Europeans' contribution to India. Rama builds the Setu. What is the contribution? At least to call Angada Setu, Hanuman Setu, because they all have contributed. Vanara Setu, Nala Neela Setu. Or it was built for Sita there, let us call it a Sita Setu. Or at least to call it as a, Lanka Setu. All these names are not fit, only Adam comes in. Where is that fellow Adam? What did he do for this Setu? Contribution? What did he do? Except invasion. Adam only invaded. Who is Adam? Europeans are Adam children. We are Manu's children. Vaivaswata Manu. Okay. The Adam's children invaded and appropriated it. That's all they could do. And distorted Ramayana. He says, now I'll tell you. Prapta charitra sandeha mama pratimukhe stita. But here he used very harsh words. He says, as if I am rejecting you, because you have a dot spot on your character. There is a kalanka. Kalanka means at least there is a suspicion about your character in the society. Therefore, I can't accept you. I am leaving you. I am giving you freedom. Go wherever you like. Karyamasti name tvaya. I have nothing to do with you. Here, if I watch, Rama generally unnecessarily want to use harsh words. He loves her so much. When you love a person very much and you have to punish him, when you have to punish a person for sake of law, whom you love so much. See, when you have no feeling, when you have no love or attachment for a person, you can very neutrally, quietly, in a relaxed way, you can pronounce the judgment. But when you love a person, you can't look at Sita's face also. You have to look down or look this way. Otherwise, if you look at Sita, that pronouncing those words impossible. Rama could not pronounce those words. Therefore, he didn't look at Sita, looked at somewhere else. Then only he could say such words, harsh words. Not only that, because his love for Sita is coming, overflowing from his heart when he is trying to reject. It is flowing so much that it is coming and interfering. Because of that, Rama may change the words and again start accepting Sita. Therefore, Rama forcibly tried to be over harsh. Extra harsh he had to be because he has to withhold his feeling. His love for Sita, he has to hold it and use it, added extra harshness he has to use. Otherwise, people may think that, oh, he is acting, he loves Sita, he is only acting. No, he has to say that, no, I am not acting, I really mean I want to reject Sita. So he has to act. For that he is bringing the over rejection, over detachment. He is imposing the over detachment. Therefore, he is becoming unnecessarily over harsh. that over harshness he is imposing on himself and using it, because otherwise he cannot speak those words. Otherwise he cannot reject her, because his soft corner is pushing again and again is coming. He is unable to. So in order to hold forcibly his soft heart, he is artificially bringing that harshness so that he can reject, he can use the words. Oh, ಪ್ರವಚನ ನಡೆಯುತ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಬೇಡ, ನಾನು ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಅಲ್ಲಿಡು. ಏನದು? ಹಾ, ಆಯ್ತು. Therefore, see, he says, how can I accept, because he says, people are suspecting, what am I to do? Because you lived in a villain's antapura. He says, Ravana's antapura striyam paragruhoshitam. What do the people think of me? And me, a person coming in that Ikshvaku tradition, first thing is, he lives in he comes in a vamsha which is a great vamsha, who lived always dharma with a great dharma, they followed the values. Second thing is, I am a king now. If people suspect, what should you do? Therefore he says, I can't accept it. Then Sita replied beautifully. See Sita's reply, I think 6 arguments Sita has given. If you see them, I have numbered them one by one, how systematically Sita, even in the disturbed mood, Sita has not lost her viveka. Sita had not lost temper. In fact, Rama has become harsh, but Sita has not become. That's why Sita had not lost temper, she has not lost balance of life, and she point by point, like a lawyer, she argues thoroughly, point by point, excellently. 6 arguments she gives. I don't go into those details because that's a different topic. If I go, it will take a long time. So, he says, see, I am helpless. And it is somebody kidnapped me, how can I be blamed? When I am helpless. And another thing is, body is not in my hand. Body, somebody can hold it easily. But my heart is in my hand, and that is in you. That is placed in you. My heart means my love. Because my heart is in my hand, body I can't hold it, because it is visible to others. Body is visible to others. Body others can hold it, but heart nobody can catch. Heart is in my hand. Therefore I have my heart in my hand, and it is always on you. And another thing is, you know my personality. You know me right from my childhood. Don't you know my nature? I am not a person to compromise. If I will give my life, if necessary, but I will not compromise. And also, I will not bring if I had something, some objectionable things happened, do you think I would have come in front of you? If I become unfit to be a queen and a wife of you, queen of your kingdom, if I were unfit, I would have ended my life there alone. I would not come in front of you. The very fact I have come in front of you shows that I am qualified to be your wife and your queen. Therefore, I have accepted to come. Otherwise, I myself would not have come. I would have ended my life there alone. By jumping into somewhere or something, I would have put my end. Sita argued beautifully. Rama also did not refuse. When you see, Rama did not reply to those arguments. See, if Rama was right, he should have replied. He remained silent. That means every argument of Sita he accepted. They are all true. But only Sita was looking at is, personally Rama is rejecting. Therefore Sita says, you know me, why are you rejecting? Sita didn't understand here. Rama is rejecting not on his behalf. Though the rejection is coming from his mouth, he is placing that rejection, the suspicion on behalf of the society, on behalf of the people. So Sita is thinking, why Rama is suspecting me? Therefore Sita is answering to Rama. Because Sita looks at Rama alone, he says, if Rama accepts me, it is enough. But Ramachandra says that it is my accepting you is not enough, society has to accept. Society has to accept. Here you see one important point is, people only blame Rama, but my understanding, because if you look at it, how Rama's marriage took place. Oh, time is already 9:30. Okay, I think I can't complete it. We will discuss it. Let it continue. In fact, the crux main point has come right now. We will discuss tomorrow. Okay, the main point has come now. We will discuss tomorrow. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.